the FSF PopCast live show.
How you doing, Tim?
Was not expecting any of that, but okay.
Anyway, hi.
Nice. Kathleen says, we were on time, right at 8 o'clock. Thank you very much. We're even
Tim
late.
clicked the button early. We started the show early, the same way we started our wedding earlier. Not mine and Tim, mine and Kathleen's. Want to be clear on that. I love you, Tim, but you're not my type.
If you could be so lucky.
Anyway, hi.
Anyway, hi. Welcome to the FSF Podcast. I am Tim. This is producer John. And this is the show that is made by nerds for nerds. And we are hoping that you are here tonight to help us talk about the nerdery that is the new Star Wars show, Skeleton Crew, or as John and I like to call it, Space Goonies. It has been a magical ride so far. We're 4 episodes in. And just when I think that I can't enjoy these kids anymore, the show anymore, they up the ante. And I'll tell you what, for being a crew of 4 young kids, they are holding it down with the acting. They are doing really, really well. Yeah. John, you're so cool with the Star Wars Coda rule.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So tonight we are going to be talking about the Skeleton Crew episode 4. Can't say I remember at Attin.
Stop saying that.
Yeah, that's going to be part of the vernacular of the nerds everywhere because we clamped onto this is the way pretty darn quickly with the Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. And can't say I remember. No, at Attin. Yeah. I can just see it. Like, you're off for a drive with the family. Hey, do you remember that thing? Can't say I remember at Attin. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yep. Well, I'm going to start doing that to my kid tomorrow, actually.
That may have already started with me today, but that's not the point. So anyway.
You're always starting stuff.
It's my thing. That's what I do. It's my shing. It's my shing.
Gotta be good at something.
Exactly. So just quickly want to say thank you to all of our show partners. These guys are the ones that help us get this show going each and every week. Bones Coffee Company, they're our brand new sponsor. You'll find a link for them down in the show notes down below. If you use the code FSF PopCast when checking out, you'll get 10% off your order. And they have amazing coffee. Then we have TCT, where fandom meets fashion. I actually have a TCT shirt on underneath here, but I was cold and I'm wearing a hoodie and you're not going to see it. So, but it's one of their really cool Sasquatch shirts. So you can check that out. And then Eddie AI, they help us with our shorts and all those type of things every week. So check them out. And of course, Level Up Sabers, because it's better to have a lightsaber. That's better than a stick. And they are definitely better than a stick. So,
and as curious as I am about your shirt, Tim, I'm not going to start the chant of take it off because.
Yeah, there's going to be a keep it on chant.
I'm going to need you to handle things for just a second. I need to step off camera. I just heard a thing in the other room that sounded bad. I'll be right back.
Understood. So while John is off exploring possible bad things in the other room, we're going to sit here and talk, and I'm going to talk to you. So, but real quick, if you haven't signed up already, there's a link down in the show notes down below, and you guys can sign up where it says sign up for free loot. If you click that, you'll have an opportunity to win a free copy, a digital copy of Venom: The Last Dance. Now that is on now. All right. Nothing's broken. There we go. All right. Well, that's good news. Always good to know that nothing's broken. And I'm going to assume by nothing's broken, that also means people are alive. So, like I said, if you haven't clicked on the win free loot and actually signed up for the free loot, take that opportunity now. If you want a chance to win a free digital copy of Venom: The Last Dance, which is out now on digital and Blu-ray, I believe, as well. Also, you guys are going to want to stay signed up there, because once you sign up, you not only sign up for this promotion, you'll be signed up for any future promotions automatically. It's just kind of one of those things that happens. So, yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump into things. I've stalled this as long as I can. Here we go. All right. So, early on in the episode, I don't care what's going on in Star Wars. If I get to see this shot, to me, this is always cool, because especially with the way that ship, the window is kind of hauled out there. I always think of the Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon is my favorite ship because Han Solo is
awesome.
And so I love this shot. If I can get this shot, and even so I live in Michigan. John lives in Michigan. It's snowing like a banshee outside right now. On my way, I may have turned my bright lights on so that I could get that feel as I'm driving home.
I have been pretending to be in hyperspace, driving in the snow. I mean, since my dad was driving me home and we didn't know where the road was. We were playing if we're not in the ditch, we're on the road.
Yep. I'm not dead, so we must be alive. So keep driving to hyperspace.
Exactly. Michigan, where the lanes don't matter, the roads are made up, and as long as you don't hear the rumble strips, you're doing okay.
Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much the plan here. But yeah, so I love this shot. It's always, no matter what Star Wars I'm watching, it's always a very welcoming thing to me. Honora says she loves you. Thank you for coming to check on her.
So she fell at the other end of the house, and I could hear the scream, but I also heard the thump through the entire house in my chair. So she landed pretty hard.
I bet. Holy cow.
But she's 6, and 6-year-olds bounce pretty good. So
and they bounce back pretty good. It's amazing. I was
45.
I had that. Yeah. Once you hit about 30, that bounce back does not bounce back.
No.
It bounced away. It bounced away. All right. So we see this. This is kind of interesting to me as we were coming up on what they thought was at Attin. Now, these are the coordinates that they got from Kim, possibly Crimson Jack's contact, or Captain Silvo, or Captain Silvo, or Jad Nawood, no matter how, depending on how you want to view it.
Yeah.
Now to get my heart rate to go back down.
Yeah.
There's a breathing thing you can do, but it's usually when you have a child or something. But you can try that. But anyway, so the reason why I selected this image and I thought this was important is because you see these satellites floating around the Earth. They're not the Earth, but the planet here, which as they're on their way down, they believe that this is at Attin. These satellites are important because these are possibly A, weather controlling satellites, B, possibly tied to Operation Cinder, which Operation Cinder was a satellite program that was put into effect after the death of Emperor Palpatine and was used for various things. Well, it's been seen in Battlefronts 2, the video game. It's been seen in comic books and things along those lines. So this has a little bit of attachment to lore, and so this has a possibility of being what that was, and so that they could hide these planets. And we'll get a little bit more into that as we go through this. But to me, that was kind of
kind of a fun little wait. What is that? Is that the thing, or is it the other thing, or could it be a third thing we don't know about yet?
Right. At this point, though, I do believe it's the satellites, possibly Operation Cinder. That's everything that I'm seeing kind of seems to point to that. And it would make most sense if these are planets that needed to be hidden for whatever reason, that this is how they would do it. So, so they land on the planet and right away they see things that make them feel like they're at home.
And yet not at home.
Right. Because it's dusty and ashy and it's heavily... What's that?
Reminds Silvo of home.
Yeah. So, and there's the statue there that they've seen on their home planet, but the head's missing off this one, and all the ground around it is pretty rough looking.
Yeah.
It looks war torn.
Yeah.
If they only knew why.
Right. So this is one of those things where, as we're going through the episode, before we find out where we are, it's like, okay, so how long have they really been gone from home? Because everything is pretty much where they expected it to be.
Yeah. When they landed, they knew right where to go for this statue. When they're looking around, they're like, there's this, there's that, and we'll get into this in just a little bit more too, as we're going through this episode review. But But yeah, they really at this point they believe that they are on at Attin because everything except. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was expecting like a Planet of the Apes type twist at the end, but
actually, I was expecting it right here.
Yeah.
That something had happened. Maybe they crossed through a wormhole or something. Was this the Star Wars multiverse? And I was kind of hoping it wasn't the Star Wars multiverse.
yeah, that'd be kind of rough.
I was like, oh, please don't multiverse a good show. We're enjoying this so far.
Yeah. It's so hard to get a multiverse right, as has been shown by nobody getting it right so far.
Highly overrated. Yeah.
Really is.
But yeah, so as they're here, all of a sudden they notice that somebody's coming. They try to hide, and they meet up. I skipped one, didn't I?
I don't know.
I'm missing a slide, I do believe. This is awesome.
Slide,
Oh, no.
slide.
No, I was going too fast for my own good.
Okay.
So they met up with this group of kids, but they're all have guns and shields and armor and call themselves the Troiks.
Yeah, which is a new thing.
Which is a new thing. Which flag do you fly?
So, yeah, which when you're talking pirates, which flag do you fly can, indicate what ship you're from.
Right?
But
all hail King No Head.
Yeah, that guy.
That one guy. The one guy at the back there who had the head but no head.
Yeah.
And as we move along, she starts talking to them. She takes off her mask, and it's definitely a young person. It's definitely a kid. This is Hannah. And I think the thing that's most interesting about Hannah is that gun.
Why is that, Tim?
Because even for me, a not Whovian, that looks like, excuse me, holy cow, that was a pickle burp. And that's live, so that's going to stick around for a while.
I'm going to find that and make a clip out of it.
I bet you will.
That's going in my highlight reel.
Yeah, that's a proud moment. But no, that looks like a Dalek. Like a piece of
it does
Dalek.
Look like a Dalek. Disruptor.
Yeah. So I was waiting for her to yell exterminate. So, but she didn't. So there was that.
Yep.
So there was definitely that. But she seems to be a pretty nice kid. Once she figures out that our little crew of Rathscallions there, we see the foursome standing there, are not of any danger to her or what's going on. And so they starts having a nice conversation with them and takes them back to her encampment to meet this dude. I didn't like him.
I didn't either. I mean, I kind of did because he sort of reminds me of my father-in-law, but at the same time, I didn't like him.
I didn't like him just from the standpoint because we're meeting and all the adults and but the kids are the ones going out. We have a child army, and the kids are going to go fight adults, and all these things felt very Peter Pan-ish on that end, but which is fine because I also think that there's a lot of things that we're seeing from this that are kind of troping back to a Peter Pan nod.
Yeah.
Your wife just realized that's what he looks like.
Yep. I'm really glad he didn't get last night or Tuesday.
Right?
The character.
But the thing I didn't like about him is it was just from a lack of understanding who he was, what was happening. Just kind of had, and I think they did this on purpose, so it put you off guard. I felt like he was kind of like a little bit of a grimy type of dude.
Yeah.
And turns out that he's Hannah's father.
That's not helping in the circumstances.
No, it's really not. And the fact that he puts his daughter in harm's way kind of bugged me a little bit. That kind of bugged me as being a father. And, I go, well, would I do that with my daughter? Well, no, I wouldn't. Plus, she's only got the one functional lung, so that just seems rude.
I mean, there's that.
I'm waiting for her to yell from the other room. Anyway, For those who wonder, I do have a chronically ill daughter, but we make fun of each other all the time. I have things that she makes fun of me about. I have things that I make fun of her about. It's just kind of the way we do things. We like dark humor over here. That's just the way we work. But he's kind of demanding now that if you want to go see this, because they're trying to find a way home, they find out that they're not on Attin, that they are on a planet called Akron, and they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get to Akron? We thought we were going to Attin, and how do we get there? Well, they find out that there's a place to go. Hannah says that she can take them there. The father's like, yeah, in order to do that, you have to train with the army, learn how to fight these guns, and go do a mission for us.
Yeah. Which, sounds a lot like any video game I've ever played.
Right. There's a subquest.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of happens that way. And also even real life at work, you see, hey, I can do this for you, but you're going to owe me a favor later.
Right. I have something you want. And in order to do that, you got to do something I need. So on the one hand, he's bartering, he's trading, goods for services and, things along those lines. I get that. But one of the things that I love about this episode, and I will fight till I am blue in the face. See what I did there? Blue.
Yeah.
Blue. You're my boy, Blue.
Neel is my favorite character right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was trying to not let him be because it seemed like everybody else was doing that. I didn't want to be on the bandwagon, but Neel's just
got sucked into that vortex. He's impossible not to like.
I liked him.
Really is.
Yeah.
But I love the fact, we're watching him throughout this episode, and he's preaching the course of nonviolence, and just if it were me, I would just say I'm sorry. Yeah, it's probably going to suck, but I'd say I was sorry.
Yeah. My little brother beat me up once because I'm really bad at fighting.
Right. Helen Goodwin says, I give my children missions whenever they want anything. They ignore me and get what they want anyway. Does his daughter know how that works?
My daughter just looks at me and goes, Dad, please. And unless it's been a really bad day, it's going to be all right, fine. Even when it's been a bad day, it'll be like, okay, fine.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of get sucked into that.
It has to be one of those things that would jeopardize her health before I say no.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the joy of being a father, I suppose.
Really is.
It really is. But yeah, so we watch Neel throughout this episode kind of being he's always been the rational one throughout the episodes, right?
Yeah. He is sort of the responsible adult in the group.
Kathleen says it's because you're a sucker. Softy, big old teddy bear. That's okay.
Very
right.
snuggled.
We stay snuggled. But yeah, he is the responsible adult in the group out of the four of them. Fern is the brains. She's the tactical brains. KB is the smart, the analytics, the all
tech.
Those things.
Yeah.
The tech. He's the logical. Neel's the logical one, and then you got Wim, who is the harebrained loose trigger. Yeah. The gullible believer. Yay! Let's do the thing with the thing about the thing. It's gonna be great. So, but yeah, as it goes on, they do all their training. They actually head out into the field, and where I thought it was going to be just the kids going out to do the battle, I was actually quite surprised that the father and some of the other men actually did come with. Now, when they get to the point though of the crap's about to hit the fan because they're out looking for their I'm going to mispronounce, but is it EOP or IOP?
EOP.
EOP. That's right. Okay. Thank you. They're to the point of needing to go out and look for their EOPs. He's like, yeah, we're going to stay here. You four go ahead.
Yeah. Which, sounds about right. He has that used car salesman vibe going.
Hey now.
Sorry, Tim. Insurance salesman vibe going about.
Much better. I can, yes.
All right, there we go. One we can agree on. And so I don't know. The last insurance guy I dealt with was actually really nice. But anyway,
Yeah, same here. This
yeah.
is kind of a problem.
And so hey, I'm going to go with you to help you with this. Oh wait, nope, wait, I changed my mind. You keep going. I'll stay here.
Again, going back to the video game analogy of the side quest, though, it's very much what happens in a video game. You meet the person, you get the side quest, they go with you to the point of the actual quest starting, and then you're on your own.
And then half the time, the plot twist is they come to stab you in the back as you complete the quest.
Which I was also expecting with him.
Me too.
And they're not off the planet yet, though, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, but that is a plot line that still has possibility because they're still on the planet. But they think they've got to go to war. And even though he doesn't want to, Neel has a gun. He was very uncomfortable with it.
It's funny how even though that's not a real face, you can see the discomfort
around the eyes. Yeah. I thought they did they do a really good job with the expression on his face.
Yeah. Which the kids are doing a really good job of showing it too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to think about why children who sound like they're from the United States are so uncomfortable with these situations, but but they did a really good job with Neel too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've seen movies and shows where the CG characters were terrible or the human actors were great. One instance of the other way around where the human actors were horrible and somehow the CG actors were given the performances of a lifetime. We could talk about that another time. Anyway, but this is just a really good balance. I like how well everybody.
We're never talking about cats.
It wasn't Cats. We're not talking about it. Anyway.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
No, I'll try to get you to watch Cats. Some things are just too far gone.
Never. Anyway, but no, yeah, I agree with you. I think they do a really good job here with Neel. You can see the concern in his face. Like honestly, if you pay attention, his snout kind of wrinkles a little bit when he's nervous. His trunk.
Yep.
Hello, Janice. Hello. But yeah, so I mean, there's definitely an air of concern on his face. There's look of worry. They do a really good job with that. I do love the fact that when he was sitting, and I kind of glanced over this, but when they're sitting up on the top of the roof and he's talking with Hannah, he talks about being nervous and how he sprained his trunk because he was, being chased by his little brother. And then I sprained I fell and I sprained my trunk.
Okay, Kathleen, I know you're listening. Are there any instances of elephants or aardvarks or anteaters in zoos spraining their trunks? I need to know.
And go with the Google fingers. So, yeah, go magic Google fingers. Let's see. Janice says Will Wheaton posted a new video of the Ready Room. He is back. Yeah, he's been posting on socials again the last little bit. Kathleen just gave us the dots. You can search it. You have magic Google fingers, Kathleen. We all know it. But yeah, so it's kind of an interesting segment there. And so they see this cloud forming. There's out of the ashy dust and mist or whatever it is ahead of them. Out comes Captain Silvo, Crimson Jack, Jad Nod Nawood, whatever those three names you would like to call him. He comes walking out of the mist, and he just kind of comes walking out calmly because that's kind of his shtick. It's what he does. Yeah. He never looks nervous. He just kind of looks, I can make this work, and he has all the IOPs with him.
Yeah, well, being able to carry off that demeanor is the sign of a true con artist.
Or a Jedi. You can still be a Jedi. A Connie, a really morally defunct Jedi, but he could be a Jedi.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's a thing.
It could be
a thing.
You never know. I mean,
there are possibilities. He's also a pirate. So, he could not, and I don't believe that there are gray Jedi, but he could be a morally gray Jedi, which would, that's the closest to a gray Jedi as I'm ever going to get. But we aren't done with Hannah, and we aren't done with Neel in this story. Not by a long shot. Oh, we have a response from Kathleen. An elephant can injure its trunk in a number of ways, including sprains, crushing, lacerations, and damage to motor nerves.
Huh. The other fun
One
thing
of
is
the many reasons-
elephants can't actually control their trunk for like the first few months of their life. Maybe the first year, I don't remember exactly. And so you see these little baby elephants just like spinning their heads around and their trunks are just whirling around. It's almost like a helicopter effect.
Love it.
Yep.
I can't. Okay. So probably more out in the wild.
Thank you
But,
for your
yeah.
help. I appreciate it, dear.
This right here is why we keep Kathleen around. One of the many reasons we keep Kathleen around.
I keep her because she's cute. She makes killer tacos.
I'm already
We can
jealous
get
of the
tacos for dinner tonight. Oh man, the tacos.
Already jealous of the tacos. So, speaking of food, we see the IOP come into the back to the.
Not to mention her fried chicken. We haven't had fried chicken in a while.
Shut up, John. I'm hungry. So anyway, Bows, I'll be here all week.
I'm looking forward to it.
But then we see Neel get his first kiss. He gets a kiss. My boy Blue. You're my boy Blue. Yeah, Blue gets a kiss.
He doesn't exactly get the girl, but close enough.
Hey, and I love his reaction to it. It's very young man. Just the the shyness, the nervousness of it. But yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, so there is definitely that, and this is the last we think that we're going to possibly. I think this might be the last that we see of Hannah. Maybe. Because we're still on planet, but she gives him this little knowing smile as they walk away and they start heading to this building, this center. I can't remember the name of the building, what they called it, but it was like the knowledge center basically for the area.
At Attin, it was the school.
Right. At Attin, it was a school, but I can't remember what they called it on Ad Akron, what she called it. When she was talking with her father about wanting to take the skeleton crew to that building. I can't remember what they called it. Right. Kathleen says, I really wish she had blushed purple. Honestly, that would have been really cool. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been great.
Oh boy. Yeah, that would have been nice. I would have enjoyed that. But yeah, so they go into this building. Now we talked earlier about how a lot of the things that they're seeing on this planet remind them of Ad Akron, and that it looks, or Ad Attin rather, excuse me, and that so many things look like home. And they walk into this building, and it has the same exact layout as Fern's house. The only difference is that it's in massive disrepair, and the tree is just completely overgrown and kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really weird that the school's in the same place, his house is in the same place. Well, her house, sorry.
Right.
Like everything's right where it is on Ad Attin.
Right.
Almost like almost like the planet's a duplicate. Like,
like
suburbs
it was done on purpose.
Yeah.
Like everything was mapped out, everything was done on purpose. Which makes me wonder what went wrong on this planet. I think so, because I have a theory about this, and I'll get to this in just a second. Screw it, I'll do it now. All right, so we're going live. We'll do it now. All right.
It was Pax, wasn't it? It's Miranda. Anyway.
No, so what I think is happening is that so there's supposedly 9 planets that were called the Jewels of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And in those, I think that when Palpatine took over, he hid those 9 planets, took away the ability to find them, going back to those satellites that we talked about in the very first slide about how those were covering the planets, making them hard to see, it would interrupt a lot of different things, which is why Ad Attin has the shield over top of it to stop communication in and out. That's why folks on Ad Attin had no clue that things had actually happened in the past. That the war was over. They're like, what war? They didn't even know about the Galactic Civil War. And all these type of things. So I think what happened is that they were performing some type of experiments. Now, does it have anything to do with Project Necromancer and how somehow Palpatine returned? We don't know yet. I don't know yet. I'm not even sure that that's really what's happening here. but there's enough information for me to think that that's a possibility, that there was some type of experiments and project planning of things, and they went from one planet to the next, and when it didn't work on one planet, they pretty much just wiped it out and started fresh on a new planet, but cookie cutter. This is where this is what this is how that is, and they terraformed the planet, make it work to whatever the needs, the specifications were. And I think that's why when they went into the house, they were like, oh yeah, and they knew where everything was. Is when they went to the town, they went to where they knew where everything was, because they'd been there before, but they hadn't been there before. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't tie into somehow Palpatine return, just to throw some people off.
I would like this to be enough of, I mean, I would understand why they would want a visual media connection to that story.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it would be kind of cool just to have this be a story that's adjacent to that story. The other story that we have out there. This would be kind of cool just to be, a Star Wars adjacent story where it has, it has knowledge of the Force. It has knowledge of that Jedis exist. It has knowledge that these things happen, but it's not exactly tied into what Palpatine was doing. I'm wondering, the other thing that crosses my mind, does it have something to do with Grand Admiral Thrawn and what he was doing? Is that part of the great work? And I'd be kind of cool if that'd be kind of cool if it's tied into that. I'd actually prefer that more than the Palpatine story, because there's written explanation for how Palpatine returned. Do we need it visually? Not really, but some people don't do the readings and don't understand the words. So it also
audio
don't understand it
counts.
Yeah. Audiobooks are fine. I don't have a problem with audiobooks. I have more of a problem with the people who can't. Never mind. Anyway, so moving on. But now this is what I don't know is different from at Akron and at Attin. So we're looking at the slide of what would be Fern's house on at Attin.
Yeah.
But when they go upstairs in this building, and I believe it's in the same building, they get this big room with a layout of the jewels of the 9 planets, the jewels of the Old Republic. This is what we're looking at.
No, that's not in the house.
Okay, where was this?
That was in the Fallen Citadel.
Oh, that's right. They went up the tower and then okay.
Yeah, the supervisor's tower. Yeah,
that's the supervisor's tower. Yeah, I got that confused. Okay,
it happened.
All right. So, because I was like, when I was going back through all this day, I was like, boy, when they went upstairs, I don't remember this being part of it, but it must be where it was at, because I didn't get a chance to rewatch the episode today, this afternoon. Work overran, and I was, it was a good day. Very good day.
There were other things, so
life happened. Life at me.
Yeah.
But so this is the top. It did. It does. It'll do that from time to time. Thank you, Jurassic Park. But so this is up in the top of the Citadel. And they're, as you're looking at it, they're walking around. They're seeing all the star chart coordinates for all of the rest of the jewels of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're naming off all the different planets. They're named off yet. We're on Ad Akron. There's whatever the other at somethings. They all start with AT, and then whatever else it is.
Mm-hmm.
Until they get to the one that says at Attin, and Neel calls it out. Guys, I found it. It's over here. Except for it isn't.
Yeah. The coordinates got scrubbed. Gouged.
They are gone.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole episode, SM33, or Mr. Smee, is walking around saying, can't say I remember no at Attin.
Up until now, I loved him.
Right?
After this, I still might. But let's see how this plays out first.
So he starts explaining, that I keep saying I can't say I remember no at Attin.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Fern has the idea to do a vocal override of his memory, like she did in the first episode with her house droid, so that her mother wouldn't know that she hadn't studied and that she'd been home all day and all these other things. And she tells him, I'm the captain. Remember at Attin. and
Then
things
he
went
remembers.
sideways.
Yeah.
He remembers, and he starts explaining that the captain said that I was to take these away, and then if anybody ever came looking for them, to rip them limb from limb. And he keeps saying it, repeating it over and over again. Rip them limb from limb. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like he shirks his arms out and they go longer. And I kept waiting for his eyes to turn red, or his eye to turn red. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of wanted the mouse to pop out the other side with like a sword in his hand, ready to fight too. But exactly.
Yeah. Probably one of the scariest things I've seen in a while too.
Yeah, and that got real serious real quick. Oh yeah, for sure. And if you guys are familiar with Star Wars Rebels, which amazing animated series, there is something called the Infiltrator droid, and they find the Zeb and Ezra, and they find this Infiltrator droid, and they don't realize what it is. And then it's a problem because it goes into infiltrator mode and it wants to kill everything. Like the arms go down, they get longer and they turn into weapons. And it's a pretty scary droid. And that's kind of what SME did here. SM33 started doing almost, the exact type thing. And so it's kind of a neat nod to that. But yeah, so he is ready to, he's ready to make them go bye-bye. And that's understandable, Janice. To each their own. Yeah. Absolutely. But hey, check it out. You might actually enjoy if you watched Star Trek Prodigy or Lower Decks, you might actually really enjoy Clone Wars and Rebels. It's a nice crossover between the two. Plus, you'll find some of the voice actors are the same between the two shows. Or two series, rather, or two sets of series. So, and the show ends with Jod Nod Nawood, Captain Silvo / Crimson Jack, saving, I think it's Wim on the ground. Yeah. Was it Wim or Neel? It was Neel.
Neel. Because Neel did the kind of like the Ian Malcolm thing. Hey, you big dummy, over here.
Right. He's throwing rocks at him.
Yeah, to get SM33 away from everybody else.
Yep. And he slides past hits the turn off button, and he falls over on top of Neel, inches from his face, and Neel passes out.
And that is a brilliant spot to end the story.
And scene. That's the end of the episode right there.
I was frustrated and excited at the same time when the credits started to play because I love that music. But
absolutely, Alan. Yeah, Lower Decks is fantastic.
And the last episode is tonight. Oh,
yeah, sad faces. Sad faces for everyone. It's a good show. Sucks that it's coming to an end, but replays forever. Replays are forever.
Yeah, hopefully, theoretically.
Yeah, in theory. That's typically it. All right, so what's coming next for Skeleton Crew? Where do you think we're going from here, John?
Well, Neil's gonna have to wake up. And I'm gonna guess they do some sort of further override on SM33 to figure out what's going on. Maybe they just rip his memory unit out and plug it into something else.
So they're gonna L33 him.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, who hasn't pulled a hard drive out of one computer to get the files?
I certainly have never done that.
Did it last week. A Tuesday night thing for me.
Right?
Tuesday night, Friday night. Let's be honest, I didn't have a life. It was Friday night. I was working on computers. My 20s were rough.
So yeah, I'm hoping that in the next episode, two things. Number one, we've already gone longer talking about this episode than the episode aired. Overall, it was only about a 38-minute runtime, but it only, by the time you took out the 4.5 minutes for the credits and the about 2 minutes for the introduction, you're about down to about a 31-minute episode. So I'm hoping for two things. They didn't. And that's the one plus to all of this. I'm in my 30s now. Stop bragging, Janice. It's not fair.
You'll catch up eventually.
Yeah, you'll catch up. Hopefully bad knees don't find you. They found me. But so the two things that I'm really hoping for in the next episode. Number one, that we get back to some 40 to 45 minute run times of actual run times, not just clocked out run times, that we have an actual length episode. And I'm hoping that we don't get to Attin next episode. I'm thinking that we probably won't get to Attin until maybe episode 7.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Because I think that there's enough story in episode 5 and 6 that still needs to be told. Some backstory, some maybe even going back to Kim. Hoping we go back to Kim because I really like Kim. Or B, that we go from Attin to, from Akron rather to one of the other planets. And that maybe, they kind of go from planet to planet, jumping to those to find the tower, to go up to see if if any of the other ones, kind of like what would that be like? Oh, a treasure hunt with pirates. Yep. How cool would that be? And to have and then while they're doing this, to have Brutus find out what they're doing, and Brutus the Shistavanian, the werewolf, come interact. I just that's kind of what I'm hoping for where this heads.
So IMDb lists the performance artist for Brutus in 4 episodes. He's only been in 3. And the voice actor in 3 episodes, and he's only spoken in 2. So theoretically, there's one more Brutus episode. Theoretically.
There's that. So now just the question is, 4 episodes left. What do we see him in?
I'm guessing like the last episode.
I'm thinking 6 or 7 is where I'm thinking for him.
7 or 8 probably to me, but that's me.
I think 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Because I think that they'll interact with him somewhere and then have to get away from him to get to the conclusion. That's what I think is going to happen. So,
or they'll finally find the coordinates for Attin, and he shows up then.
That would be cool too.
Yeah.
And then just real briefly, I mean, we're getting right to the end here. But because we have a few more people watching now than we did earlier in the show when we talked about this. If you haven't already, go down and click the link down below that says win free loot down in the show notes down below. You'll have an opportunity to be entered for a free digital copy of Venom: The Last Dance. And not only will you be entered in to win this one, but any future giveaways that we have, you'll be automatically entered into that. So for those of you listening and not watching and not being able to click, if you go to FSFpopcast.com, that's FSFpopcast.com/contact. There is a place there for you to sign up. We need your full name and email, and that gives us consent to enter you into our drawings. And then, badoom, away we go. You're entered into this one and any future ones. And you'll having an opportunity to have some fun with the FSF Popcast that way.
And it's free loot because we're watching a show about pirates in space. So loot, it just makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's free. And you don't have to go searching for it.
And anything free is worth saving up for.
Exactly. And on that note, that's all, folks. Yeah, that's going to wrap us up this week. No, Kathleen, not that much.
We don't want your firstborn.
I have
one of my own. Tim's got one of his own. We're good. We're done.
We're good. I'm all set. I'm done with this. Baby factory over here is closed. I need no more. But anyway, guys, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for checking out the FSF Popcast. If you have thoughts, comments on tonight's episode, put it down in the show notes down below, and we'll try and check those back later and respond to any comments and thoughts that you might have. And until then, may the force continue to be with you as you live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Copyright 2024 FSF PopCast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF PopCast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpopcast.com.